Blog Talk Radio.
Live from the nation's capital, it's Quintessential Listening, Poetry, with host Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram.
Tonight, we're in for a very special treat. Three incredibly talented artists will be with us tonight, sharing with us their poetry, their way of being. We got Aaron R., J.Swann, and Rebecca DuPas. Are you ready, people?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, all right. Aaron, you're on, my friend.
Yes, sir. Welcome, everybody. Thank y'all for listening. I go by the name of Aaron R. Before I begin sharing some of my pieces tonight, I just wanted to let everybody know that I do have an official website, which is Aaron, AARON, rpoems.com. AaronRpoems.com. You can check out a lot of my poetry there. I also do a lot of poem movies with the YouTube link, so you can check me out, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. So I'm going to share three pieces tonight. The first one is called This Life I Lead, The Meaning. I'm only human, so my emotions change. People's perceptions of me and mine haven't always been the same. I've never quite been the type to automatically conform to the norm. That's because being like everybody else, well, that's not how creativity is born. And I was informed to be like the norm. And out of that shell, my reality was born. That I have words to give, and I do believe that you too have just as good as a gift as me. And two is better than one, so imagine what we could be collectively. The more, the better, respectively. Large groups could change this nation's trajectory. Some people do this for show. This isn't part of that act. You'll be remembered for how you treat others, not for your alternative facts. And with that, I've been trying to discover how on the inside I need to do much better. I've been spending too much time outside trying to put my appearance together. Putting the pen to paper to rhyme words, it was always natural and interesting. I was a rhyme nerd. Didn't think my words would ever make much sense. Just because you know a bunch of verbs that rhyme doesn't mean that they make sense. Just because you know a bunch of words that sound profound, that doesn't mean that people will relate to you when they come around. And that's what I found. Just because they're down in the moment doesn't mean they'll always be down. What are you saying? What is the purpose? My itchy writing hand moving back and forth across the paper like I'm nervous. Some people comfortable in chaos. They fuss on purpose. Learn to stand up for yourself more. Don't let them think that you're worth less. Funny how if you aren't staying, they consider you worth less. Food for thought. Funny how if you aren't paying, they'll leave you deserted. It's interesting how things over a time span eventually pan out. Like, you can give 9 times out of 10, but that one time you don't, expect people to hold their hand out. People in awe without understanding the meaning. Yeah, it all sounds good, but what's the point if you don't understand the meaning? Coincidences don't exist. There's a reason we're here right now, you listening to me speaking, but it's up to you to find the meaning. The end. The second piece I want to do tonight is called Final Chapter. This is a poem about anybody who's lost a loved one or dealing with death, because I know that's a difficult topic for everybody to deal with. So this poem is dedicated to anybody grieving or going through those times. Death. It's a 5-letter word that people don't want to talk about, but at some point, it's something that everybody has to talk about. When you don't understand, you know it's God's plan. Wishing you could reshuffle, but it's God's hand. Time to give this shout out. It hurt so much that I wanted to shout out. Time to take this time out. I cried so much that I wanted to call a time out because your time is out. We came here with a promise that we would leave one day. That hasn't changed, so why isn't this easy to deal with? No matter how many times you experience it, you feel the same way, the feelings remain the same, and you're left with sorrow, sadness, anger, hopelessness, despair, depression, frustration, second-guessing yourself like, damn, if only I would have been there. Emptiness in a void that can never be filled with emotions, and it's hard to tell someone that they'll be all right, and you know how they feel. Wish it wasn't real. Wish it didn't happen. Sending farewells through funerals and memorial visits that don't always leave satisfaction. Never forget the time that it happened, and I'll never forget my reaction. The reality is that we'll meet again one day, but that day is not today, so the pain just doesn't go away. The longer you're connected with someone, the harder it is to separate when death comes in. Sometimes it makes you feel like you don't want to be attached because you know how this is going to eventually end. The older you get, you lose your grandparents, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, acquaintances, your parents, co-workers, and your friends. Life is like a movie. No matter the genre, eventually it's going to come to an end. Time will heal this wound, and this will soon come to pass, and I know that's cliche. I wish it would be soon. I wish it wouldn't last, but there's never a perfect time or a perfect thing to say. Comfort in the afterlife. Comfort in knowing that we'll meet again after life. Comfort in knowing that paradise just got another awesome person in the afterlife. Been through denial, anger, bargain, and depression. That's the so-called grief process, and I've reached my acceptance. Until I get the news again that another person I'm close with is gone with the wind. Everyone's clock is ticking till we take our last breath. The solace in knowing that we all meet death. And when you don't understand, you know it's God's plan. Wishing you could reshuffle, but it's God's hand. The end. The last piece I want to share with y'all tonight is going to be one of my next poem videos, and it's actually in Poetically Correct Volume 1, which is a book that I have that's out in on iTunes, Amazon. All you have to do is just Google Aaron R. Poetically Correct. It'll pop up, and this is called Human Nature. We have become so caught up in sex that is part of our routine because it sells the best, to the point where we don't know each other's name before sex, to the point where we value sex more than respect, to the point where if y'all sex, then you earn their respect, to the point, to the altar that we take the same sex, to the point that our kids try to change their sex, to the point where, did you get my point? Well, okay, so on to the next. Is it just me, or has this world seemed crazy lately? Shooting up theaters, shooting up churches, kidnapping and killing babies, blowing up marathons, using bombs, kidnapping and killing ladies. Cops killing blacks daily, worse than Rodney King in L.A. lately. That was in the 90s, and it's still going on, and that's just it. No matter what they say this just is, it's not justice. I thought democracy was ruled by the people, but one group rules another because the people aren't treated as equals. But saving minorities' lives won't necessarily make a profit, so they won't necessarily try to do anything to stop it. So, okay, I'll drop it. These days, we barely talk on the phone. We relying on drones. When the battery dies and the power's off, we can't even come on. It messages family, friends, and pays our bills. Spend half our day looking down. We forgot how real interaction feels. Hiding behind filters and screens. Growing up to get a lot of followers is a lot of these followers' dreams. We ask Siri and Alexa before God. That's delirious. We praise the criminals and frauds. Now that's curious. We want the easy button and not scars. That's serious. We believe in independence over team. We corrupted Martin Luther's dream. It's hard to love, easier to hate ya. Easy to give up, hard to make 'em break ya. Hard to stay real, easier to fake ya. Easy to fold, hard to be bold. But that's just our human nature. The end. All right, Michael, that's all I got tonight.
All right, man. You are a very prolific poet.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You are. What does poetry mean to you?
Great question. Poetry to me is a way to express yourself, and I think a creative way to also express other things going around in society or personal or through other people. I think it's just a great way of expression. So poetry to me is a way to express all my feelings from things that I've seen that other people have gone through, from society in general. And it's a creative way that hopefully everybody can relate to. Right. And just another self plug on that. That's why if you're listening, check out my website, AaronRPoems.com, because I think poetry is beautiful to listen to, but I think it's even more powerful when you can actually see it and hear it rhyme and see the scenes behind it to make it make even more sense and be even a stronger message. So AaronRPoems.com, check me out. And Michael, again, thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here, man. Always appreciate the work you're doing and the support.
I'm glad that you're here. So, again, thank you, Aaron R. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. I'm here with three very talented artists. The next artist is J.Swann. Jay, are you there?
I am here. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing quite well, sir. You're on, my friend.
How y'all doing out there? I go by the name of J.Swann. I am a hip-hop artist, and I have a album called Blackswann that will be coming out next month in May. And I will be doing 3 pieces today. And the first one will be called Baltimore MD. And it goes like this. Home and mellow, but these boys not mellow. Taking that young man's life, he was a good fellow. On his way to college just to help out his mom. Financially to get away from hardest harm. There's no super hills, now no capes, no supermen. But you will see doomsday. No role models in the type of community or on TV unless he MCs or he dribbles. Help these kids figure out these riddles. Puzzle into them because the life is so detrimental. When I use this instrumental, helps them a little. Motivate them mentally so they could be less fickle. This Baltimore life, real tripe. Jesus shoot them up just a ride, hit kids bite, in front of the children, in front of their building. Who's going to take care of them for a living and give them wisdom? Hopefully things will get better sooner. But we still haven't recovered from the death of little scooters. Children scared riding in their scooters. Hate hearing these babies be the victims of the drive-by shooting. God bless Taylor Hayes, resting as the body lays. only a child. Too early for her to pass away. Highest crime rate in America. It's getting scarier. Nothing to be proud about. This is real embarrassing. Sad black America, home of the deadbeats. Kids haven't seen their dads in weeks. Those weeks turn into years, man. It's getting mad weak. So we have the best armed force, but won't protect the weak. Not concerned for my life because of my dark skin. They give us a choice to die, but not a choice to live. Lord, forgive. We need more unity. Love conquers hate needed in our community. That's the first piece. The second piece is free spirit, and it goes like this. Free mind, free thinking, closed-minded is something I'm escaping, leaving at the pyramid, which is called the basement. New chapter of my life, by the old pages, was trapped with those mazes in my earlier stages. Religion had me so confused at a young age. Need to self-evaluate of what's life's meaning, trying to understand how to live as a human being. Things I was seeing didn't make sense to me. Picked a white Jesus, seemed false in history. Mom said Sundays we have to pay tithes. The last person who I think need money is God. Money never reached a homeless or a poor man's pockets. Just to a priest so he could get cars and watches, houses, false prophets giving wrong guidance. Whoever said you need a church and know who God is, no one should dictate on who you need to praise. Having your own relationship with God is the best way. Your spiritual experience, no man-made rules. Spirituality is love. Use that as your tool. Applaud Kaepernick where he stands, feathered with the boys in blue, killing our men. NFL don't agree for what the brothers doing. Need justice endlessly because there's a dark side to it. Apocalypse of racism. This has me bothered. Brady was kneeling. They wouldn't see it as a problem. That's mad awkward. Colorism shouldn't matter. So backwards when they treat us as non-factors. Leaves me with sadness. Keeps on happening. Ignoring the rights for freedom because of our blackness. By bliss reaction, Nike teaming up with Kaepernick. Strong team backing them. God keeps blessing them. Heroic actics scrambling. They try to sack him. Let no one attack your dreams. You do the pocket passing. My happiness keeps you strong in this crazy world. Shamar got core custodies of his little girls. Free from child support. Fight for them a court. Happy for Brooke and Gabby just to see their daddy. In order to love, you have to love yourself first. You're beautiful in and out. Don't settle for the worst. We are. That's the second piece. And next, I will go to my very last piece. It's called God's Greatest Creation. When I think of you, I think of life, the life giver, creator of all things in existence. We all came from a womb. When I say we, I mean us men. But sometimes we don't appreciate you. We just sexualize, grabbing those thighs. Oh, they so thick, I'm hypnotized. Sorry if I womanize. Balloon size gets me every time. Fantasizing, analyzing your presence. Can't be shy when you're in my direction, but no man has ever gave you this type of affection. Just a one night of rough necks that give you rough sex. After that, you'll give him a call, but once you say your name, he quickly forgets. Send him mad emojis that you text, being bitter, screaming, F you, I hate you. But surely you can't expect every dude to be the husband type of figure. Last dude don't appreciate you like I do. Hard-working woman, mother of two. Baby daddy won't take care of the kids, so what makes you think he'll take care of you? I could be the peace that you need. No longer you sleep, you're weak with a wet pillow. No more lonely nights and waiting for Prince Charming. No more fairy tales of what these boys tell. No more lies, no more cheats, no more late nights and him coming home. Thinking need to leave that garbage alone. Communication is the key to us. For us relationships, everything will be great. When I think of you, I don't think of a side piece. I think of a soulmate. I can no longer wait. Please don't hesitate. Unlike others in your past, I won't make those mistakes. My masculinity plus with your femininity, just perfect chemistry. When I think of you, I think of a female version of me. Must be Miss Allen Iverson, you the answer. Let's put this to rest. Deep in the poetry, baby, to me this is poetry. Just say yes like Aaliyah, I want you at your best. If you was an exam, I would love to take that test. And if I fail every time, I want you to bring out my best. The neck is my flesh when I lick my mouth. So refreshing, giving you hickey marks rather than Valentine, rather than sunset. As I set the bar so high for myself, no other man could try. Haven't felt this in a while. Might not ever get this again. Tonight's the night I'm blushing. Shorty has got me red, man. How high is this love I'm feeling? Dang. When I think of you, think of life. Here's my insight of the species that gives life. If this was a Source magazine, you'll get those 5 mics. Classic rating. From a scale from a 1 to a 10, your number will be infinite. Making love to your eardrum, hear my mic skills, catching every word and every sentences. The metronome hit your dome. It's on repeat. This metronome hit your dome. It's on repeat. When I relax my dome in my sleep, in my dream, you're in it. And this is what I see. Beautiful queen that God created for me. Feel like Miss Jill was talking to me. Well, can we have this long talk? Jill, can we have this long walk around this hill? Come on, babe, give this New Jackson play. Miss Jill, will you be my Valentine? Tired of these brainless zombies called men? You want to love again? Cover me to my resonance. It's not so evil. It's non-nemesis. Feel like it's home sweet home. It's so heaven sent. Your beautiful scent is my medicine. Your beauty's my antidote, which is so dope. You're the most important herb that's the most important on this earth. So I meant every word. So just remember, value yourself as your like treasure. Real men like myself want you here forever. This black love is forever. When I think of you, I think of God's greatest creation, the black woman.
Right. J.Swann, very powerful young man. Let me ask you the same question that I asked Aaron R. What does poetry mean to you? You're incredibly talented.
Poetry to me, well, poetry means to me as far as like the way to express yourself, like making, your fantasies and to your reality. Because I feel like we all have, as human beings, like the way to express ourselves. Like I'm a hip hop artist. I express like, listening to like different artists is growing up make me want to express myself. I'm a constant writer. I write all the time. So it makes me feel authentic, showing authenticity.
I like that authenticity. Well, I want to thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will be right back. This is Quintessential Listening Poetry. Hopefully you joined us for 3 fantastic artists. Our next artist is Rebecca DuPas. Are you there, Rebecca? Rebecca?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hello? Oh,
yes.
Okay, I got scared.
So did I.
I was like, oh, my God. Thank you so much for
okay.
having me, Michael.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I'm glad. I'm glad that you're here. So please share your work, your beautiful work.
Indeed. First, I want to thank you for having us, Michael. I want to thank Aaron for the invite and also for the opportunity to hear these brothers share their work and their messages. So just like Aaron and J.Swann, I am going to share 3 pieces with the audience. I just want to share that all 3 of these poems are from my new book entitled Not Without Black Women. I gifted it to myself for my birthday in March, and all of the poems that I've included in this book speak to my experience as a black woman, not only in the working world, but in relationships and family, so on and so forth. And the poems that I chose today kind of mirror the same vein of affirming myself as a black woman. So the first poem is entitled, Dear White Girl. Dear white girl, I do not envy you. I do not desire any aspect of your life. There is something beautiful about the skin that I'm in, something magical in this melanin. You will tan before I ever choose to bleach. You will learn to dance like me before I ever sigh with less rhythm and blues, and despite the rhetoric of fools, I have not straightened my hair in an attempt to be like you. These strands will always carry the weight of something great. There is something beautiful about this body, something brilliant about this mind, this culture, which you try to bury or appropriate in everyone from Elvis to Iggy, admittedly. Being fancy is adorning yourselves in the everyday ways of the minority. Those are our hand-me-downs. That rhythm was concocted in my mama's basement on my auntie's front stoop. I don't envy you. Creators never do. Look at those who have mimicked their genius only then to marvel at what the protege will produce. Now we marvel at its use. Imitation is a form of flattery, that is, until the student no longer pays homage to the master. But let's be honest, those cornrows and those gold fronts on you are a disaster. I can tell by the way that you brush past me that you fear my royalty. You were starving yourself before you allowed your hips to spread like mine. Thick was the way that your brothers ridiculed you, and thunder thigh was an insult until we walked by and you realized that our earthquake was to die for. And the men that we've loved, you've coveted them since their strong backs built your ancestors' wealth. I am not confused by your apparent arrogance. The only reason you saw me see you walk by is because you were also watching me. You were longing for my eyes, dear white girl. I will always look amazing in these jeans. I will always be the descendant of kings and queens. You will always exert energy pretending not to see me. And I will always know with certainty that you do. And before I go on to the second poem, I just want to give credit where it's due. The idea from this poem, or for this poem, came from another poet out of D.C. by the name of Sarah Lawson, who used her position to call out privilege after watching a white woman on the subway train interact with I believe it was a young black boy. And so I had the title in mind, and then I had an incident where I felt belittled by someone, and I borrowed her approach to write that particular poem. It's just important for me to say that every time I perform it.
Yes.
And thank you, Sarah, for that idea. Yeah. So the second poem is entitled Dripping, and it's about navigating corporate America, again, as a black woman, aligned with the rest of the poems in the book entitled Not Without Black Women. So here's Dripping. I come through dripping, melanin all through the conference room in a small kitchen. I come through swinging box braids without apprehension. A sister that I worked for thought I needed checking. She told me to lean in and smile more because she was concerned about my perception. She basically asked me to adjust for people who would never adjust for my preference. So I be sprinkling black girl magic in meetings where it may not be welcome. That's when I do have a seat at the table. A bit naive, I used to feel grateful. I used to think that permission to enter sacred white space spoke to my value. That is until I learned to protect my intellectual capital, see a few ideas got stolen. Where I'm from, that'll get your bottom lip swollen. But that's just information that I'm sharing. My skin is weaponized far too often, so for the record, this is not a threat to Karen or to Katie. It's just a point that I'm saying. It's just a clever way for me to weave together some things that I've suppressed. Being black in corporate America means you have to consistently finesse the way you would normally do some things and the things that keep you paid. Being your authentic self and helping the dominant work culture feel safe as if that was ever your responsibility in the first place. Because the same people that we code switch for will use our everyday language with their friends. I heard Brad in the break room telling the team the meeting would be lit. Meanwhile, I keep getting praised for being articulate. Me and Brad speak the same language. Ask him how many times he's been complimented on being coherent, 0, because his intelligence is expected. Brad is the standard to which the rest of us are measured, even though my degrees would eat Brad's degrees for breakfast. This grammar matters, but don't get the diction twisted. You can still catch these corporate hands when we leave the building. I mean, not really. That's just the way I be feeling. I come through dripping black perspective with no regard for who wants to listen. I come through decentering whiteness without asking for permission. I don't want to fit into dominant work culture. You can keep that communal candy you be offering. And don't nobody want the cookies that you baked last night. I'm not eating that. I don't know what your kitchen looks like besides. I would rather have equity than pastry. Make the ladder of success accessible to people who look like me. It's not good enough to just have us here if we never lead. Have you even asked Javier or Brandon their thoughts? Better yet, are you grooming either one of them to ever be the boss, or are they only good for pictures in the magazine? Poster boys for diversity because you see them in the office and you seldom even speak. I know I'm bringing too much sauce. That's because there ain't enough salt and pepper on this chicken. And I'm not the type to tell you that these bland meals are delicious. In fact, the lack of spices is a little bit suspicious. And that's just an analogy for the melanin your corporate photographs are missing. I'm dripping awareness over the ignorance that you call bliss. I'm meeting your cultural incompetence with an articulate scolding. I just need you to know that where I'm from, all these microaggressions will get your bottom lip swollen. But my skin is weaponized far too often, so for the record, this is not a threat to Karen or to Katie. It's just a poem that I'm singing. It's just a clever way for me to weave together things that I've suppressed. Being black in corporate America means you do a whole lot of hand-holding, a whole lot of telling grown folks how they ought to behave in a society where my ancestors used to be their ancestors' slaves, but that's okay because the sister got time today. I'm dripping Harriet fighting these veins. This professionalism matters, but don't take my kindness for weakness. Because you can still catch these corporate hands when we leave the building. I mean, not really. That's just the way I be feeling. So that's the second piece. And because that poem works me up every time I do it, I just get angry. I'm actually going to end with something else, not necessarily with another piece about my blackness. I'm going to end with a piece entitled 100 Miles and Running. So we're going to switch gears just a little bit.
All right.
100 miles and running. To all of my girls in long-distance relationships who require constant contact, I feel your pain. To all of my ladies waiting for the chance just to see his face again. To those of us who treat text messages like warm hugs and hold conversations like bodies, I get it. We make sentences feel like wet kisses. We spend far too many days by our lonesome when we're actually connected to something strong enough to hold our attention to someone who has proven himself worth the trek beyond borders, into different time zones. We are 100 miles and running. Away from distractions and immediate satisfactions, we run closer to who it is that we desire. We sleep to smother the fire that rages. We send text messages pages long, video chats and love songs. We know that everything matters. The silence, the chatter, the arguments, the laughter, it all weighs heavier. When you can't just hop in your car to make love or to make up, when you have to reach for devices instead of him when you wake up, you tend to tread lightly, to disagree quietly, to think deeply, to love, to speak lovingly, to take nothing for granted. When your baby doesn't live right around the corner, you got to put weekends on reserve. You got to value vacation days and expendable income. You have airplane apps saved to your iPhone. His face is your lock screen. To all of my girls who know what it means to find exactly what you need in a whole nother state. To those of us who endure the wait, who constantly resist the temptation to let another man close. For those of us who know that none of them compare. The problem is your baby is far away, and they are right there with their WYD texts and their compliments and their good mornings and their do you need something, and you find yourself counting how many times you had to turn down offers. You trying to ignore the local brothers that be hitting your phone because although they tickle your fancy, there's only one brother that keeps your heart dancing. Sometimes it feels silly. Sometimes it feels like you're dreaming this figment of an imagination of a man, this fairy tale in a distant land, this bliss that happens every once in a while because y'all parents have decided to have y'all on a different side of town, because y'all live on opposite sides of the track, because your lives are on a different path and you happen to meet before space enough was made. You know that the only way that things can grow is for one of y'all to decide to move states to say, F it, I didn't want to be where I was anyway. When research has shown that seeing him sporadically trumps seeing these other dudes consistently, to all of my girls who choose common sense over convenience, who have faith in the connection but resent the distance, who know the grass really is greener in a whole nother area code, to all of my girls with bags packed and ready to go, I feel you. Sometimes what you need is right under your nose, but other times it is far away, beckoning you to a place that you didn't even realize was home. Thank y'all so much for listening. I appreciate the time, Michael. Again, the book is entitled Not Without Black Women, and if you're interested, it's on my website at RebeccaDupas.com.
Rebecca.
Michael.
What does, as I've asked you two colleagues, what does poetry mean to you?
Poetry for me is certainly an outlet. I was journaling first, and then my journal turned into very narrative poems. I've always written things that were very particular to my own experience. And what poetry has shown me is that we're not alone. So even though I write about things that I go through, the beauty of poetry when I take it to the stage or share my work otherwise is that it's a way for me to connect with people in ways that I didn't even know that I could.
Well, thank you very much. We'll
You're
be
welcome.
right back because there are a number of callers on the line. and we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, we are back. This is Quintessential Listening Poetry. We've been blessed tonight with three very talented artists. So what I'd like to do is to bring some of the callers, a number of callers, on the air. Area code 757-715. You're on the air. Hello?
Is this me? Hello?
Yes. Yes. How are you tonight?
Okay. I'm fine. How are you, Michael?
I'm quite well. It's been a beautiful evening.
Yes, it has.
Do you have a question for one of our artists, or you want a comment in general?
Just a comment in general. I enjoyed listening to all three artists. Each one is unique. One is very special to me. My name is Phyllis Whitehead Morgan.
All right.
So I am related to Aaron R. I enjoy listening to everyone, and I just wanted to let Aaron know that I'm real emotional about the final chapter because, I can relate to it, and it's pretty much like therapy for me right now. In the way the poem is like a real life, an event in our family and everything. But I'm just very proud of him and everything.
Aaron,
that's
are
all
you there?
I wanted to say.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you,
I'm on
Phyllis.
the air.
Awesome.
hear
Thank you,
you.
Phyllis. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the support. And and I know that was an emotional and difficult poem to do too for the circumstances. So
I know.
I feel you on that, but hopefully in some kind of way it can help.
It has. It's like therapy.
Yeah. So thank you. That means a lot to me, and I appreciate you and your support as always.
Oh, and always.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for calling in.
You're quite welcome, Michael.
All right. Let's try another caller. Area code 757-380. You're on the air.
Who is that?
Hello? 757-380. Or maybe they're here just to listen, which is fantastic. Let's try another. Area code 571-364. You're on the air. Five 571-364. Maybe they're here to listen as well. There's a lot of listeners tonight. Are you there?
I know.
Hello?
Are
Can you
we
hear me?
all? Yeah.
Hello?
Yo.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. I've just got my children in the background, so it's going to be noisy, so I'll just be quick. I just enjoy listening to all three of the artists.
All right.
I definitely support poetry. And yeah, I just enjoy listening. So thank you for your time.
Oh, you're more than welcome. This is National Poetry Month, so it's an opportunity for people to come together in a poetic spirit. So thank you, sir, for calling in.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Then we
Hey,
have one more.
hey, Michael, are
Yes.
the other artists on the air too? J.
Not
Swann
at
and
this
Rebecca.
time. Would you like them to be?
Cause yeah, I had the person who just called was my brother who called in, and that's one of the inspirations I have for poetry because he's my older brother, and just growing up, listening to him like rap and come up with rhyming words and stuff, just always trying to be the younger brother, emulate my older brother, was really what introduced me. And then as we got older, just always trying to be like him and type thing. So I wanted to just ask the other artists real quick, like how they ended up, Rebecca and J.Swann, what your motivation was to get into poetry and how you ended up getting to the point you are at now.
Rebecca and J.Swann, you're both on the air.
Sorry to put you all on the spot like that.
No, you're fine.
Who'd like to start?
I could go first. Well, I got to give you a shout out to you, Aaron, for like telling me about this, man. It's like, this is really big for me. I really appreciate it.
No doubt.
The way I started was that I had two older brothers that rap, and they the few years older than me, and they grew up like on 90s hip hop and stuff like Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas. I try to like follow what they do, but I like try to like when I was young, I like try to outshine my big brother. I always want to outshine my brothers. It's like a competitive thing. Very competitive.
Yeah.
I come from a very competitive family, so yeah.
All right. Rebecca.
The exact same vein as J.Swann and Aaron. It was family that motivated me. My mom and my sister were writing poems and sharing them with me when I was little, so it was natural for my journals to transition into poems. Yeah.
All right.
Michael, can I ask them one more question? I'm sorry.
Of course you can. Of course you can.
Now, like, well, for me, I guess the question I want to ask y'all first is, now are there certain things, I know, Rebecca, you talked a lot about, like, being in a professional setting as a black woman, and I know, J.Swann, you hit on a lot of politics and things like that. Are there any particular inspirations that y'all have? Do you find most of your work comes from yourself or, like, political events or things that happen in society?
Oh, wow. That's I'll let you go, Rebecca.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I was just saying that's a big question. That's a big question.
That is a good question.
Yeah, I wasn't even ready to answer, but I appreciate you. So what I'll say is that because I'm narrative and I know that about myself, it's usually from a very introverted perspective. So I write more about what I experience and even things outside of me, the lens that I experience them from. But I also write pieces that are social justice pieces, or I've been hired a couple of times to like write tribute poems to people. So, but the majority of it is just from my experiences and my interactions with the world around me.
Yeah. Well, me personally, like, I like to, I'm not like a try hopper like, a lot of these rappers today. I like use my own experience. Like, I have a song called Everyday Struggle that's like on, that's gonna be on my album. It's one of my singles. And you know, I was inspired to write that because when the first verse I've written took me like 5 minutes to write because it's all about struggling and like losing my job, losing my grandmother, you know, what goes on in the world. I wrote the first verse in like 5 minutes in the car when I just recently got fired. And when I you know, recorded it, you know, I put it out there, and then I went up to Philadelphia for a contest and for a Caribbean open mic, and I came in first place performing that song. And, you know, that inspired me. Yeah.
That's tight.
In first place.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I think too, you know, that's kind of the same with me. If I see anybody going through something or another situation, it can just make me want to write about it. Or, you know, obviously if I'm going through something personally. But I think, you know, even as like J.Swann, you creating this album and Rebecca with the book, I think that's how mine started too, was just writing so many things about so many different topics and then just kind of putting them all together to fit the vision that you have. So, I mean, I wanted to congratulate both of y'all on those projects. I'm going to definitely support those because I think that's awesome.
Man.
All right.
Thanks, man.
All right, it's beautiful. Beautiful. We've got one more caller. Area code 410446. You're on the air.
Hey. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
I'm good. My name is Ellen G. I am calling in support of Rebecca DuPas.
Ellen.
Hey, boo.
Hey.
Had to call. I had an opportunity. I sped through cooking dinner so that I could sit in on the call and listen to you. I just wanted to tell you, I don't know if I've ever said this to you before, either in person or publicly, but you are a black woman who has levels of pretty much everything that I aspire to. So your level of expression, your level of intellect, your wittiness, your beauty, your compassion, just like you are a full, complete package, and
oh my God,
I'm grateful that I know you.
Oh,
now that's nice.
If I may, just quickly.
Yes, please.
That is so. My entire being is smiling right now, and I really appreciate you calling and pouring into me. I look up to you, and so I just need you to know that every word you just spoke warms my entire being, and it means so much to me to be affirmed by a woman who is doing so much in the city. So thank you so much, Ellen. I appreciate you. I'm going to sit with this for a minute, but thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. There aren't a lot. I'm not huge into poetry anymore. Like, I feel like I have, I don't know, just kind of grown out of it a little bit. And Rebecca is somebody who, no matter where I am, like I big her up to people when she is top tier quality poetry from a black woman. I think that there are probably 3, and she's in my top 3. She is amazing on so many different levels.
Wow, thank you so much, sis.
Welcome.
That is nice. That is nice.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for calling in.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for tonight.
All right.
Wow.
You know, guys, I know we're almost finished, but it gives me the inspiration to say some poems myself. How does that sound? Is that okay with you?
Oh, man.
That's great.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I traveled the country as a performance poet. And let's see here. Hold on one second. Rebecca, for you, I've got a white girl poem too.
What? Let's hear
it. It's called White Girl. What You Got in Your Bag.
Okay.
I wrote this back in 1994. All right, hold on 1 minute.
And I'm sure it's still relevant, 100% sure.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Come on, Michael. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. And these computers.
Right.
All right. White girl, what you got in your bag? Does it contain the stars, the moon, or the sky? Is that why you clutch it so tightly whenever I walk by? White girl, what you got in your bag? Does it contain the ocean? Is that why you cringe in the elevator whenever I stand too close or come about? Are you afraid that the oceanic tides might spill out? White girl, what you got in your bag? Does it contain the universe? That's why you jump so easily whenever I walk behind you. Are you afraid that the cosmos might escape and collide with some other distant galaxy? White girl, what do you have in your bag?
In your bag.
Is that God you've got locked up in there? Is that why you view me as a threat? Are you afraid that I'll grab God's hand and it's you that he'll forget? And white girl, what you got in your bag? Does it contain my freedom that you refuse to release? Is that why you grip it so firmly and hold on to stereotypes that continue to oppress me? Because, white girl, if your bag does not contain the stars, the moon, or the sky, I don't want it. Because I only grab those things that enable me to fly. If your bag does not contain the ocean, I don't want it. Because I only seize those things that put my mind in motion. So, white girl, next time I walk by, check your bag first before you continue to perpetuate the lie. Right.
Michael.
That was good.
Wow.
Michael, let me tell you something. If I was still teaching, if I was still an English teacher, I would have my students dissect that entire poem and write an essay on it. That thing is great. That is textbook worthy.
Well,
awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Here's another. You got me on a roll now.
Okay.
This is called Today I Think. Today I Think. I'll echo.
Okay.
Today I think I'll echo the beauty of the sun. Because like the sun, I plan to rise up and greet the morn with a dazzling brilliance that cannot be denied. A majesty so great that the world cannot hide. So today I think I'll echo the beauty of the sun. And then I think I'll echo the song of the birds, because like the birds, I plan to sing a song so loud that the sound of my voice is carried across nations, and the power of my words will lift like the thunder that began life's creation. So today I think I'll echo the beauty of the sun, the song of the birds, and then I think I'll echo the color of the grass, because like the grass, I too am cool like that. I'm all around like that. You might not see me, but my presence is still strong like that, still proud like that. So today I think I'll echo the beauty of the sun, the song of the birds, the color of the grass. And then when nightfall shrouds the earth in a peaceful darkness, I think I'll echo the glimmer of the moon. Because like the moon, it could be as dark as a starless night, but still my luminous spirit will shine just as bright. So today I think I'll echo the beauty of the sun, the song of the birds, the color of the grass, the coolness of the breeze, and the glimmer of the moon. And then I think I'll find something to eat, because echoing the beauty of life always makes me hungry. All right.
That was good. Michael, you got we can't let you just off with that. You know I got to ask you what poetry means
what
to
poetry
you.
means.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Let me do one more, and then I'm done. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Everybody did three.
He in the zone now. He in the zone now.
Go ahead. I know, right? My bad.
This is my signature poem, one that has brought me great fame. if I must say so myself, over the years. It's called Shelling Beans, and it's a universal poem. And I wrote it for my mom about 25 years ago, but I think the message is still universal, and again, it's titled Shelling Beans. In a small southern town, not too far from the road that you no longer claim, I recently visited my mama. I needed to get away from the maddening crowd. The both were talking aloud that I am no longer what I once was. I left that back there just because. I needed to see my mama's face and behold the originator of a race. You see, in the grand scheme of life, mine was clearly without strife, had overcome that small-town mentality, embraced big city formality of a giant among men, degreed and all too big to fall. I wanted to let my mama know I had become all that and more. In the kitchen, there she sat, big, beautiful, black and fat, smiling from ear to ear. Her baby was home too long had he been gone. God's done come, old cousin Essie snickered. You see, some of her boys were in jail, so jealousy oft times flickered. Mama, in a loud voice I proclaimed, for you, the world I've tamed. I'm bigger than big, bolder than bold. When I walk, my way is paved with silver and gold. So ask me, Mama, about the places I've been and the people I've seen. You need some money? Hey, it's yours. My pockets are filled with green. Come, son, she said, in a voice both nice and sweet, come sit here at the table and help your mama while she's still able. Child, what a day I've seen. Grab that sack and help shell these beans. Mama said, with an incredulous voice, I came back here by choice. I've been out walking with kings and queens. I don't remember anything about shelling beans. You see, shelling beans is for the common man. I gave that up when I left the land. So ask me, Mama, about my plate of riches. You need a new dress. I'll buy you one laid with gold stitches. She looked at me in her wise old way. Although I didn't know exactly what she would say, I knew that it would contain the wisdom of the ages. You see, she had lived a good life. Therefore, her life's book was full of pages. She said, son, don't you ever forget, no matter how big you get, that life's about more than being able to walk with kings and queens. Life's about remembering how to do the common and simple things like shelling beans. You see, shelling beans is a time-honored task. And if you don't remember how, then I should have never asked. But it means that you've forgotten that true wealth comes from the fruit of the earth. From any place else, what is his real worth? So, my son, tell me your story. Is it only of the riches and the glory, or is it also about remembering how to do the common and simple things like shelling beans in addition to all that you've seen? Mama said, in a sheepish voice that trembled, but not by choice, I do remember. So I grabbed that sack and helped shell those beans. We shelled what went on like hours, it seemed. Yet on that day I did not mind shelling beans, because I shelled them at the feet of a queen.
Oh, that's a story right there. You're a storyteller. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that one is very important to me because, again, it's not what you have. It's what you do with what you have. That's the lesson for me in that particular piece, and that you're never too big to help somebody.
Right.
That's
you
true.
Never feel too big to help somebody on their journey in this life. So it's always important to remember how to shell beans. All right. So the question that you wanted to ask me, what was that question, Aaron? I forgot.
What does poetry mean to you?
What does poetry mean to me? Poetry means life. Poetry means life. Poetry is a lived experience. That's what poetry is to me. And Aaron, it's so funny that your book is titled Poetically Correct. What I've traveled around the country talking about is being metaphorically correct. So got a couple of articles out of that one. So, hey, we got one more call. I know y'all ready to go, but we got one more person. Well, people are just calling in.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
God.
I told you, Michael.
You did.
I tried to tell you.
Area code 781-329. You're on the air.
Hi, it's Lynn calling in, and I love that poem. I love that Shelling Beans poem, and I got to tell you, it is universal because all I could think of when you were reading it, Michael, was Seamus Heaney's poem about peeling potatoes with his old mother in Ireland, in the west of Ireland. Yes, and at the end he says, everyone else was off at church. Everyone else had gone off to mass, and he's a boy, and has to peel potatoes with his mother, and there's no talking. And at the end, he says, "Never closer the whole rest of our lives." But that humble task of shelling beans or peeling potatoes, it is universal with the mother.
It is universal.
I loved it, and I loved the way you read it. I liked the one before that too.
All
so
right. Thank you very much, Lynn.
I came in late because I was out in the rain, but I'm in here now. So.
Well, all right.
Thank you.
That's fantastic.
Thank you,
Thank you, Lynn. Thanks for calling in. All right. Got one more person here, and then I think we'll call it a night. Area code 202-868. You're on the air.
Hi, Michael. This is Danielle. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can, Danielle. How are you?
I'm good. I was just calling to let everyone know how much I appreciated their poetry, and I really definitely loved your poetry, the one about the white girl and the one about shelling beans. Those two really resonated with me. And also, I really loved. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. And I also really loved Rebecca's poetry, especially also resonating with me as a Black woman. But I had a quick question for anyone willing to answer, or if each of you could answer, and that would be, how important do you find poetry and just literature in the advancement of the Black community? And I know that Rebecca's an English teacher, so I was wondering if she especially saw the good impact that poetry and literature has, especially on people in the Black community. I was just wondering, if all of you felt that it should be applied more and seen as a more useful tool.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for what you said about the poem that I shared. But certainly as an English teacher, I feel, and I've seen it, even as someone who started poetry clubs at the schools where she worked, that because many Black and brown children are very expressive, like culturally. There's so much song and dance in who we are and how we express ourselves. I think that in an academic setting, it gives students the freedom to break grammar rules and to break punctuation rules and simply get their thoughts out on paper. And then to find the rhythm that works for them. So maybe it's a poem, maybe it's a song, maybe it's a rap. But I know that I found out things I wasn't even ready to find out about young people when I allowed them not only to do poetry, but also to write journals in my class. So the short answer is yes, definitely.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I agree. I just think that it's good to just have exposure to different ideas and things. Like, I mean, like I think that just knowing that there is a creative way, like doing performance poetry or doing poetry in a stand-up type of way or hosting poetry events, it doesn't always have to be like the Shakespeare way that you always hear about in classes. I think it's just so many different ways that it would be wonderful if kids could be exposed to it not just having to be one way. So, yeah, I would be all for that. I think that is very important.
Agreed.
All right. Anyone else?
Great.
All right. So
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Does anybody else want to share anything before we close out?
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share one before we close? I mean, we've got a couple of minutes here, so if not, we're done. But
I don't want to share.
I really don't.
I'm sorry.
No, I really don't want to end. So please, if you got one you want to share, please share.
I don't necessarily want to share a poem. I just want to tell those people who are listening, if they're interested, that they can find out more information at my website, RebeccaDupas.com. Last name DUPAS. I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to share the 3 poems. So thank you again, Michael, and thank you for inviting me, Aaron, and thank you for sharing the space, J.Swann.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. You the man. And thank you, Aaron, for telling me about this. And everybody did a great job. Everybody did their thing. I'm a fan of everybody. Whoever's listening. So y'all inspired me today. So hey.
Right, all right. I mean,
I know,
everybody's
right?
style is different.
That's
Everybody's
awesome.
style is different, but everybody's style is valued. Is valuable.
Yeah, everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody is unique. Unique.
All right. All right, good people. Well, I want to thank you for being a part of this show tonight. This is a great way to almost end National Poetry Month, and I'll say good night to you as my guest, and good night to the audience out there listening, and we'll be back next week. Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night,
Thank
everyone.
You.
Good night.
Peace out.
All right.